is fucking ridiculous. Hey guys, I'm having tons of technical issues and the scheduled live stream that I set up isn't working. I have no idea if anybody's going to see this, so I'm going to quickly jump on to the scheduled live streams chat and see if I can't tell people to join us over here. I'm really new to this and I probably should have done a little more research, but the schedule I set up, I cannot figure out how to make the schedule go live. So bear with me for 1 second while I do this. I apologize to you guys. You know, first time, like, can't figure it out. All right. Okay, I've said something over there. Honestly, guys, I really don't understand what happened. It's very confusing because it sort of looks like, hey, Mohammed, it looks like that if you schedule a stream, you have to use some software, whereas I only have my webcam. So I'm not really sure what the heck happened. I don't know why I didn't know that before. So anyway, we're here now, and it would be great if you guys wanted to ask me questions. I do have some people from Instagram who have sent me a few questions that I'm going to read to you guys, but I'm going to wait a few minutes and see if I get some people from the other stream to come in. I only see 5 people right now, so we'll wait a few minutes or a minute. I don't want to wait too long. And then we'll get into those questions. So I hope you guys are having a good evening or morning or whatever time it is, wherever you are. It is about a little after 7 o'clock here in Athens. It is slowly getting darker earlier and earlier here. Hey, John. Oh, good. Some people have found me over here on this other URL. So like I have my ring light and I have some lights on because it's no longer bright out. It used to be like light here in Athens until about 8:30 at night, and now, you know, fall has come and it's just like we're slowly shifting back to that, you know, less time. So, oh, thank you so much. Okay, and John's saying it's afternoon where he is, so, you know, I know a lot of people who watch me are in the US, so I know it's like early morning, or not early morning, but morning or early afternoon, wherever they are. So yeah, if you want to tell me where you're at right now, that would be great. I would love that. I would love to know where all of you are tuning in from. Let's see. So far, I don't see anybody over in the other thing waiting to find out. Oh, Dubai. So you're in the same time zone as me then. So, oh, John, you're in Bath. Okay, and it's raining. Oh, first of all, I'm slightly jealous. I mean, like, I love Greece and the Greek weather, but I also miss a little bit of rain. Like, it's better now that the heat has sort of like gone down a little bit, and but it's still getting hot, so I really just like a break. I don't want us to be cold, but I'd like a break. Okay, Belgium, so you're what, an hour behind me? Oh yes, Dubai is another hour later. I used to live in Doha, so I keep thinking Doha time, but I always forget that Dubai is an hour later because, you know, it's right next door. Anyway. All right, let's get into the questions. And then as people join, they can maybe jump in and tell me where they're at. That would be great. So actually, I have a question from, I believe it was you, John, that asked me how I'm going to get around Athens outside of like the main areas of town without a car. And would I rent a car or a scooter? Or he even said, would I buy a Harley and join the Hells Angels? I don't plan on buying a car here in Athens. Parking here is like utterly ridiculous, particularly in my neighborhood. And actually in my neighborhood, you have to have this special like residence permit sticker. And it's like super tight. Like I don't know how people even park on my street. Anyway, so I take public transportation a lot, and actually here in Greece in general, public transportation is pretty decent. I mean, you may still have to like wait a while to get in, wait a while to get to the place, but it's still pretty good. Like I can take a bus from here all the way to like Nafpaktos, which is like west of here. You can take buses everywhere. So, and most of those buses go to places that like you would not need, like you wouldn't need to get a car, like a rental car. You can get a rental car. However, I don't have an international driver's license that's like current. And I don't know, it just seems silly to pay like 50 euros for a rental car when I could just take the bus. Oh, hold on. Now somebody's messaging me on Instagram asking me where I'm at. Hold on. I will figure this out before the next one. Although at this rate, who knows if I'll do another one. Okay. So public transportation goes almost everywhere. I don't have the international driver's license. I had one, but it just expired, and I won't get another one until I go back to the US. Also, I don't know how to drive a stick. So in order for me to rent a car, it has to be an automatic, and those are way more expensive here. So I will probably continue to take public transportation as much as possible. I do have a few friends here that have cars, and some of them have been nice enough to take me like to like further away beaches. So that's really nice. And Mohammed is asking me if sometimes I make the wrong decision to move to Greece. No, I mean, so I'm having some current like personal challenges with work, but I would be having those no matter where I lived. And really, I don't know where I would live if I wasn't living here. I haven't lived in the US in like 7 years full time, and I've gone like back and forth from like living in Doha to now living here, but I haven't lived in the US for a long period of time in about 7 years. I don't have a house in the US. I don't have an apartment. I have some things there, but they're all in storage at my parents' house. So like, if it wasn't here, it would be somewhere else. And so like, it would probably be the same hardships that I have everywhere else. So I love living here. I love Greece. You know, of course I miss my family. I now haven't seen my family in the US for over a year now. I left late last August, so it's been a year and a month now. But I did book my ticket home for Christmas the other day. I'm going home to my parents' house, and I call it home, even though I don't live there. I booked my ticket home, so I'm leaving to go home at like December 6th, and I'm gonna go home for 3 weeks. So I'm super excited about that, and I cannot wait to go home. There has been epic mail delays. My mother sent me a box from the US in, I think it was late March, and then it took almost 2 months to get here. And she just sent me another one, and they said, oh, it'll be about 10 days. Well, 10 days is come and gone, and the box is still sitting in Chicago. So I might make it home before the box makes it to Greece. Who knows? So anyway, so I hope that answers your question, Mohammed. Let's see. I get a lot of questions about living here in Greece. And one of the questions I get is especially about the residence permit and the visa that I'm here on. So I'm going to answer a few of those because I like get them almost every week. And even though I have videos on it and I have blog posts on it, people still email me and they message me. So I'm going to just keep saying it until people stop asking. They probably never will. Do I need a bank account in Greece to get the residence permit? And you will hear varying things about this. So what I should clarify is that I'm here on a financially independent visa. That sounds like I'm a millionaire, but I'm not. It just means basically I'm here, I'm supporting myself, I'm not working in Greece. I cannot work in Greece. You cannot work in Greece on this type of residence permit. There are residence permits that you can apply for, that you can work on, but because I'm American, I'm not eligible for those. So some people who are getting, like, if they're British and they're trying to establish residency here, they have been told that they may need to have a bank account here, but those rules don't apply to me. I have different rules. And of course, the rules are kind of subjective. So whoever you get when you go to register for the resident permit, for those kinds of residence permit, they may tell you one thing. And those are done at the police station. Those are not done at the same administration office that I'm doing mine at. So I did not need a bank account. I just had to show them that I had money, that I had access to, and that I could get to that money in Greece. And the amount of that money is 2,000 euros a month. And for me, it's not income, it's in my savings. So that seemed to be fine with them. They just wanted to see like an ATM receipt that I could actually get to the money. That's obviously super easy to do. My application is still pending at this point. I have the temporary paper one. So what I'm waiting on now is to get the physical card, which looks like, well, here, I'll show you my old Qatar one. And it's very similar to this in the sense that like it has my picture on it. It has the SIM card in it. And it's got my residence permit number and everything. Of course, it looks very different and there's no Arabic on it, but it looks like this. So that was the other question I get is, can I work in Greece on this visa/residence permit? And no, I cannot. So the financially independent visa and it's also meant for like retired people. So, you know, when I'm retired and when I'm 80 at this point, then, you know, maybe I can, you know, do that. I'm going to go check the other stream again to make sure that no one's hanging out there still. Okay, it says one is waiting, but hopefully they've figured that out by now. I apologize if you're seeing this later and you're waiting for the other stream to start. I'm an idiot. Okay, so if you've joined us and you haven't commented in the live chat when you got here, please tell me where your name is or where you're from and what time it is there. I would love to know where you're joining me from. Also, if you're already in here and you've already said something, I'd like to know, how did you find my channel? Like, did YouTube suggest it? Did you search this particular term? Like, I'm always curious to know where people like found out about me, or maybe you read my blog before you became a YouTube subscriber. Sort of during the whole like pandemic, I kind of switched to doing YouTube videos because it really didn't make sense to write about travel because who was traveling? It also seemed like I was kind of rubbing it in people's faces that, you know, like, I live in Greece, blah, blah. I mean, I know YouTube is the same, but I think it's a little bit different because like I'm showing my daily life rather than like, oh, I'm on a Greek island, which I really haven't done. So, Mohammed is asking me, okay, so what Mohammed is asking me is, so once you apply for the residence permit, and they give you this temporary blue piece of paper, which I can show you if you're curious. I'm not going to let it get too close to the camera because it has like a lot of my personal information on it, but it's inside this. This is the blue document. I did do the biometrics because of the coronavirus. They're not letting people go and wait all day for the appointment system. You now have to make an appointment in advance. And I did it with a lawyer. So my lawyer went in and like gave them all the documents and talked to them and like I don't know what she did. And then once that was done and they accepted the paperwork, then they brought me in to do the thumbprints. So what they do is they also take your thumbprints, but it's all electronic. So you don't walk out of there with like icky hands, and it's just your thumbs. So, okay, so you found, YouTube suggested your channel to you. Okay, that's interesting. I really like to know where, you know, I get a lot of emails from people saying, oh, I found your YouTube channel. I'm looking to move to Greece. But like, that's probably like 10% of the people. And since I have about 640 almost, I think I was like 638 when we jumped on here. I'm sure I'm not getting any subscribers right now, but this wasn't really to get new subscribers. This was just because usually on Wednesdays I jump on and put out a video, but I just haven't really been doing a lot lately. So it's been kind of hard to film. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say was so many people, not so many, like a couple of people who I'm not sure are on here or not. After last week's video, I guess I looked really tired because a bunch of you went and bought me coffees on I think it's called Ko-fi, and I really appreciate that. That was really sweet of you all. Like I've been really stressed, and I guess that kind of shows, and I'm not sleeping, and that's part of it. And so that really made my day. Like I went to bed with like 1 or 2, and then I woke up to like 2 more, and I was like, oh, that was super sweet. Just know that I never want you guys to do that unless like you can actually afford it. Like that's not what I'm here for, but I do appreciate it. So, all right. So I know it says there are 14 people in here, and I've only heard from like 4 or 5 of you where you're from. Be brave. Tell me where you're coming from. So I know a lot of people have been asking me about restrictions here in Greece. And so so September got really bad. We started having like 300 to 400 cases a day, which compared to a lot of countries is not that big of a deal. I mean, like just in my parents' home county in the US, they've had 700 cases yesterday. So, but the thing in Greece is A, it's a much smaller population, and B, we just don't have like the hospital space. In fact, I live near one of the big hospitals here in Athens, and all day today I've heard ambulances coming, and I don't normally hear those. Like normally it's very quiet. Now, obviously ambulances don't mean coronavirus patients coming, but I don't normally hear ambulances like ever. And I literally live like 2 blocks from the hospital. So let's see. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Yeah, my blog is the same thing. It's agirlandherpassport.com, but it's more like travel in the sense like things to do and see in my travel experiences rather than like my weekly life. Plus, I think it's kind of hard to express like how I'm feeling about living in a country in words sometimes. Like I've written about living here, but I don't think it comes across the same as it does in a YouTube video. Plus, I can't do that every week on my blog. Like no one wants to hear my weekly updates on how I feel. So about, I think on the 24th of September, they announced more restrictions in Athens. So like masks are required can't talk all of a sudden. Masks are required everywhere indoors, which I think that might be Greece wide now. And they're really strict about it. And if you can't socially distance outside, they ask you to. Bars and restaurants have been closed at midnight to 7 a.m. for pretty much a month now, which to me hasn't really been a big deal. And but now they're closing the kiosks, which are like, if you've never been here, they are like little whatchamacallits. I don't even know what to compare them to because I don't really know of them. Like they're like a newsstand. That's what it is. In English, we would call it a newsstand. So they sell beer and wine. Some of them sell liquor, although I don't know if there's restrictions on when you can like buy beer and liquor and wine in times. Like that's a very American thing. So it's probably not a thing. So what they've done is in Athens, or maybe it's all of Attica. I'm not sure. Attica is the prefecture or county, if that's like a more familiar word to you. So those are closed from midnight to 5 a.m. because what's happening is people in their like late teens and early 20s are buying beer at like 11:45 and then hanging out in the squares drinking and not socially distancing. And of course, the more you drink, the less you're inhibited. So then you don't care about how much you're touching the stranger next to you, I guess. So it seems to be that they think that's what's spreading it. They have talked about doing more restrictions, but they're really adamant that they don't want to go back into another lockdown, even though they keep threatening it. I think they're threatening it because they're hoping that means that people will listen to the restrictions. Anyway, and John says you're watching, okay, so another recommended channel. I'm always curious about that, like, because obviously I watch YouTube. I watch YouTube quite a bit, actually, and what I watch isn't what I make. So I don't get a lot of travel channels. Yeah, the kiosk, the peptiptero, I can never say that word. John, send the rain to me, please. I've lost my train of thought. This is the problem. So I read the chats and try to continue my conversation. I can't do it. Oh yeah, the recommended channels. So the kinds of things I watch on YouTube. For some reason, I really like large family blogs. It fascinates me. I watch a few like couples. I watch a lot of historical costumes. I have a background in fashion from like forever ago. And so I really enjoy those. And there's some really great ones. And plus, like sometimes I want to escape from my own life. So I don't want to watch videos about Athens or Greece or travel. Healthcare. Okay. That's a good question because I have had healthcare in many places because I like to get sick in foreign countries. Unfortunately, I haven't had to go to the any hospitals here, so I don't really know what that's like. I've been to the doctor here, but I have private insurance, so it's a little bit different for me. I've not been to the public hospitals here. They scare me. Public hospitals in all countries scare me. Even in the US, they scare me. The doctor that I see was trained in America. She's not American, but she was trained in America. So it's very familiar to me. The only issue is that sometimes the person that answers the phone, their English, they're either not confident in it or my accent is hard for them to understand. And so sometimes they're like, what? Can you repeat yourself? So sometimes it's nerve-wracking for me to call for the doctor. That's more me than anything else. I have a general anxiety about medication and going to the doctor. Not because anything weird, but just because I've had some bad experiences, not here. And anyway, I'm not going to say where, but I've had some bad experiences. So, obviously you have to go to the doctor at some point. At some point I'm going to have to go. I'm going home at Christmas, like I said, so I'm going to go to the dentist when I go home. I'm not doing it here. It's bad enough that I don't speak Greek, let alone to try to have a dentist appointment with someone with their hands in my mouth. Am I thinking about learning Greek language? I'm trying. Well, I should say I was trying. 2 years ago, I was living in Naxos and I was taking lessons. Then I moved here, and my teacher that I had in Naxos, because originally I was going to live in Naxos, he moved to Italy. So that didn't help me. So I couldn't, I kind of quit at that point. Now I have an app on my phone. It's called Mango. It's called Mango. And so I do occasionally pick that up. But I will say that even though I don't do it a lot because I don't know enough words to be able to speak Somebody is like honking their horn outside my window, and I don't know if you guys can hear that. I'm sorry if you can. I live in the basement, so I get a lot of street noise, but there's really not another option for me to stream from. And now somebody's walking past my window, which I know you can hear, because when I film videos over here, I know you can hear them. So I'm trying to learn Greek, but I have picked up a lot just like living here. Not a lot. I've picked up some words. Yesterday I was in a taxi and they asked me where we were going on the second ride. They asked me both times, on the way there and on the way back. On the way there, I was like, I knew he asked me where, but I didn't understand the whole question. And a different taxi driver asked me the same thing on the way back, and I recognized it and I was able to tell him. And my whole ride was in Greek, although it wasn't really that much. But I'm excited anytime I understand anything. Like I went to the Periptero. I still can't say it. Anyway, the kiosk, this newsstand, a couple of months ago, and I bought a soda, and they said, "Do you want a straw?" But they said it to me in Greek, and I was like, "No." But I knew what they were asking me, and I was super excited. Like, one other time they like told me the change in Greek, like the total amount in the change, the price of everything in Greek, and I got really excited that I knew that it was €5.10. Now I'm wondering what I was buying at the kiosk. It was €5.10, because who goes to the newsstand and spends €5? I mean, like normally I spend like €1 or two. Anyway. One of these days, I'm going to learn how to say that word correctly. What I love about the Greek language that I've learned so far about it, everything is very literal. Like they see something and they name it after the thing that they see or that it reminds them of. So like straw, for a drinking straw, is kalamaki because it looks like straw, like hay. Because it's the same word. Or it may not be the exact same word in English as it is in Greek, but it's like the same. And there's like a town called Kalamaki. And anyway, I'm probably like telling you the entire wrong thing, and someone will watch this later and go, "Oh, Tiffany, you're stupid." Anyway, all right. Does anybody have any other questions? Oh, and back to learning. I just signed up for a class. Let's see if it makes enough people to do a class. I don't have tons of extra time because I work a lot. And so I signed up to do the class once a week for 2 hours because that's pretty much all my schedule will allow for. So I'm hoping that it makes, because it wasn't expensive and it's close to my house. There may even do them online if we still have restrictions, so then I wouldn't have to leave my house at all, which is what I seem to be doing a lot of lately. Hey, Kimberly, thank you so much. Okay, so you're another person that like found my channel like randomly. So, and have you been to Greece? Oh yeah. So those of you who are watching, how many of you have been to Greece, and how many of you have been to Athens? Because there are a lot of people who've been to Greece, but have never been to Athens. And if you haven't, why not? I want to know. And I think this is the most talking I've done by myself in a while, so I'm gonna have to take another drink of water. And I think the next time I do these, we're gonna make it like a, grab a drink kind of thing. So I'm gonna be like, grab your coffee, grab your tea, or beer, wine, depending on what time it is and your preferences, because I think that would make this a lot more fun. So I really wish that like I could do this live from like the street, but people would stare and the internet connection would probably be horrible. And they would probably wonder why I was talking to myself. But maybe I'm planning on moving in the new year to a place with a balcony. So it is possible that maybe one day I might be able to do one of these from a balcony, pending noise factor. Eleni, oh, thank you so much. Um, I have had a Greek boyfriend, but he just laughed at me every time I tried to speak Greek. Um, and dating here is not easy. I don't really want to get too much into that. I don't think it's not. It's just different. It's just this is not the first foreign country I've tried to date in that it's been hard. So it has nothing to do with Greece. Hmm. Oh, you don't like Athens? I love Athens. I never thought I would live here. I never thought that I would live in Athens. I had been here twice before I moved here, but I've always spent most of my time in the islands, and um, that's where I mean, Naxos was where I was going to live, and when Naxos didn't work out, I thought, okay, well, I'll just move to Athens because it's a big city and it'll work out. And I've lived in big cities before. I lived in New York City for 7 years. Um, Athens is obviously not like New York City, so that's good, because if it was like New York City, I probably wouldn't have lasted. I probably would have had to move to a smaller city here. Um, okay. So one person that has been to Athens, and I'm hoping that Professor John, you do like it. I think you do. I think we've talked about this a few times. A couple of you I know I've chatted to either on Instagram or you've emailed me separately. And if you email me and I don't get back to you, please email me again, because I found an email today from someone asking me a question and I just totally forgot. Um, Kimberly says she was in Athens in 2008 just to get on a cruise ship. Yeah, that's why I was asking, because some people just come here like on their way to an island, or like you said, on their way to like a cruise ship, and then they never come, or they come for a day and they're like, okay, I saw the Acropolis and that's all I needed to see. But there is so much here to see, and every time I go out, I'm like, oh. So if you follow me on Instagram, I went on a food tour last Friday around the neighborhood of Keramikos. I learned so much about the neighborhood, and then I went and ate at this amazing restaurant and had Greek food that I'd never had before. So I highly recommend spending. I mean, you don't have to come and spend like your entire vacation in Athens, but spend 2 or 3 days, like, or spend one day in the front and one day in the end, and you'll have seen a lot. You'll probably have seen a lot more than a lot of people have ever seen here in Athens. So yeah, I was saying that to someone else the other day, John, that Athens, even from when came here in 2018 to now, has changed a lot. They're doing a lot. Like, they're trying to like really improve a lot of the parts of the city. It takes them the buildings that were falling down and make them better. I mean, that's going to take a long time. But like the metro and the buses and everything, the metro actually had an expansion on the end of the Blue Line. It used to stop, I believe the stop was Agia Marina, and now it goes to Nicaea, which I think is 2 or 3 extra stops. And they're trying to get the tram that stopped running in 2018 to Syntagma. They've begun testing again this last week, and hopefully it will start running again. I think the tram is tram 5. It's the one that goes down to the beach and then goes out to Glafada. So I have, there are some expat things, but I don't like any of them so much. Not that I've found. And really, honestly, like, I would really like to make more Greek friends. And sometimes they are members of that. So that was part of the reason I went on the walking tour, because I was hoping that like obviously the tour guide was Greek, and I was hoping that maybe some Greeks would come. They didn't, but some people who live in Athens came, so that was helpful. But yeah, I think Greek people, most people who are from Athens have friends from when they were kids, and I find this in a lot of places. Like, they just don't need more friends, and at least from what I've noticed is that Greek people, they're really close with their friends, and they're really close with their families, and they not that they don't want to meet people, but they have a really close group of friends, and they've been close with these friends since they were little, and I think that's amazing. I wish I was friends with people from like elementary school. Like it's, you know, I mean, it's not their fault. But anyway, but like someone said, maybe one day the Greek boyfriend will work out and then I'll magically have Greek friends. Haven't made it that far yet. Anyway, okay. I don't know. Athens is pretty compacted because it's sort of between two mountains. So it can't really get too much like spread out. Like I'm sure that in the northern part it's more green. I don't ever go that way, but I think if you went out towards like the sea and maybe went further east, it would definitely be more green. So I actually don't think Athens is that like, I mean, it's not that green, but it's definitely like got some pros. I highly suggest that if you come and you need a break from the city life, that you go to the National Gardens, which is actually right behind Parliament. I go there all the time, or come to the hill that I'm not going to say that I live on. Not because I don't want you to know where it is, but because I can't say it. It's the highest hill in Athens, but there are all these hiking trails. So if you watch some of my videos, like during lockdown, I walk on the hill all the time, and it's not green right now because it's summer or it's the end of summer, but in the spring it's like green and there are wild poppies everywhere. It's stunningly beautiful and it smells amazing because there are all these Greek pine trees up there. Oh, and you can see wild tortoises. That's very cool. Ooh, I wonder what Athens was like in the 80s. You need to tell me more about that, and you should share pictures with me. Kimberly, yeah, you definitely need to come and spend a couple of days here. 3 more stops, John. Okay, 3 more stops. I couldn't remember if it was 2 or 3. So they like stickered over the old stops to put the new stops on the metro, so I can't see like how many it was. And I wasn't sure what that stop was before. Yeah, you know what? I think Athens may not be the most beautiful city. There are definitely some beautiful parts to it, like, anywhere down in Vula near the beach is great. I think the hill that I live on is like is it Toss or Tos Hill? I can never get, that's the part I screw up every time. So yeah, and I like the street art. I actually really like the grittiness of Athens. Like it feels like a city. And like there are areas in Plaka that are just beautiful. The buildings are beautiful. Some of the older homes that didn't get torn down in the 60s are stunning. There's some down here that are owned by a shipping company in Kolonaki that are like mansions, and they're beautiful, like Greek classical style buildings. They're great. What beaches are on? I haven't really been to too many beaches here that I've really liked. Every time I go to a beach here in Athens, no matter how far away I get from Piraeus Port, my face breaks out afterwards. Doesn't happen when I'm on the islands. I went to Egina and I swam and it didn't happen there. So there's something nearby that's in the water that's making me break out. So actually my favorite thing was to go to the Lake Vuglameni, which isn't really a beach, it's a lake, but I really liked that. Except for the fish part. Not because it's not cool to be like have your body be descaled by fish, but because it doesn't really make for like a fun swimming experience. Somebody took me to a beach really far away. It was near the Cape Sunion. Don't know the name of it. That was really nice. It's kind of subjective too. Like, I don't really care. Like, I just want to go swim on a beach, like, unless it's super crowded. Like, that's the other thing, is a lot of the beaches here are so crowded. Like, it's just too many people. And that was like even pre-corona times. Like, I don't want to be near that many people. So I need to do some more exploring of the beaches here. And now that it's getting cooler, that may not happen. Toss as in toss a ball, just don't hiss the S. So lick. I don't know. Can't. Someone's gonna have to. And the funny thing is, people do say it to me all the time, and I still can't get it. But you know what? It took me about a year to figure out before I lived here, like when I was just visiting, how to say Monasteraki. So give me some more time, and I'll be able to say it. So, hey, good to catch you too. I have not been to Niamakri. Some friends did go once, but I was hungover, so I didn't make it. Well, I don't really know that it snows anywhere from Athens south, I would say, because I know that Athens sometimes gets snow. I've never seen snow here, but I've only lived here one winter. I know they've gotten like a dusting, but I've even heard like Naxos even gets snow on the mountain. So Crete would be the best option if you never want to see snow. And I can't guarantee that. Have I considered moving to the coastal suburbs? I go back and forth with this all the time because, originally I wanted to live in Naxos. So clearly I love nearing the sea, live near the sea. That's my mouth trying to get ahead of my brain, by the way. The thing is, I feel like if I moved out, let's say to like Lafata or Vula, first of all, they're more expensive. Second of all, I'm afraid I would never see my friends. Like, I don't think I would ever come into town. I barely leave my house as it is, and I live a 10-minute walk to Sigtagua Square. It's so funny because I love traveling, but when I'm home, I'm really bad about never leaving the house. People have to like force me. I went out Friday night. I didn't go out Saturday. I went out Sunday night with a friend for dinner, which was like unplanned. And then I went out with a new friend on Monday night for a drink. And I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm done. That was way too much. I had to go do laundry last night. I didn't even want to do that, but I had to. So my fear is if I move out there, I'll become even worse of a homebody than I am now. Because if I had to get on the train to come into town to see my friends, I might never do it. Now, granted, they might come see me because I would live near the beach. So who knows? Hey, Bob. Oh, good. I'm glad you made it. I wasn't sure if you were going to make it. And then, of course, I screwed everything up with the live stream. So if you're watching this, if you somehow catch the earlier part, I'm never scheduling a stream again because I did something totally wrong. Not true. I'll figure it out. Yes, there is a bust near Makri. So the KTEL, which I think is pronounced Ketal. Anyway, it looks like kettle to me, but it's not. Because I know it's not kettle because it's KTEL, but anyway. But yeah, apparently there's a bus. It takes about an hour. But it doesn't drop you like by the beach. I could ask my friends and let you know. I'm not really sure. I didn't do it, so I know that that it's possible, and it is popular for people to go out there. But that's a long bus ride, especially like right now with wearing masks. Like so the animal rescue organization that I help out in Naxos asked me if I could come to Naxos last Saturday on the morning ferry and escort some animals back to Athens on the night ferry. And I was like, there's just no way I can wear a mask for 10 hours. I also had plans, but that was like my big thing. I was like, I don't think I can wear a mask for 10 hours. Like I wear it when I go to places here, but that's like usually for 30 minutes, maybe an hour tops. I don't know how healthcare workers do it. So I was like, and if they had let me know like the night before, then like wearing it for 5 hours and then having like a 24-hour break would have been fine. So, Kimberly, I moved to Athens in January because originally I was living on an island called Naxos. So I moved to Athens. I moved there last August, like late August. And because of many reasons, I didn't end up staying. So I ended up coming here. I actually came here in like October and stored a bunch of stuff. And then I went traveling for 2 months because that's what I do. And I'm really glad now that I did it, because I came back to Athens in January, and I think 8 weeks later we went into lockdown. So I was really grateful that I had been traveling. I had been in Spain. I was in Spain in a couple of different places for about 5 weeks. And then I went to Amsterdam for Christmas. And I spent Christmas in Amsterdam with some lovely elderly cats that I was cat sitting. And then I spent New Year's Eve in Germany with a friend of mine. And let me tell you, if you ever want to experience a very wild New Year's Eve, Germany is the place to go. In fact, I think if you go watch my Germany video, you'll see why. Because like everybody and all their neighbors set off fireworks in their streets. I don't know what it's like where you grew up, but I grew up in the States where that's not allowed. Like, I mean, people do it, but you can only like shut off, do the little ones. But like everybody in Germany was like in the middle of the street, like bottle rockets going 30 feet in the air. And like at some point I look down the street and it's just a haze of smoke. And keep in mind, like people are still driving through. Now it's a residential neighborhood, so it's not like a busy road. But yeah, like dodging cars, and like they're got like literally have the bottle, the rockets in the bottle and like shooting them off. And it was freezing cold. I was not prepared. I felt like a frozen popsicle, but I had one of the best New Year's Eves I've ever had. I'm not a big New Year's Eve person. So like normally I'm like fighting jet lag because I've usually flown back from the US from wherever. And like, so it was crazy. Anyway, how am I going to vote? I'm going to vote by mail, but that's proving to be challenging because so you have to send in a federal, voter registration, but it's called a federal postcard application. And I emailed it to the state of Texas, but they are now saying that they need it also by mail. But mail to and from the US is like severely delayed. I'm going to turn up the brightness. I think all I like here, I can. It feels like it suddenly got darker. So I think tomorrow I'm going to have to go down to DHL and pay probably a pretty sum to have it like, I don't know, a couple of days sent to the US. And then when it comes back to me, I'll probably have to do the same. I'll probably have to pay to like overnight it. I do have to check the Texas regulations because Texas is like super strict on how you can send your ballot. So I don't know. If for some reason I can't mail it directly to the voter registration people or the clerk's office, then what I will do is I will send it to my parents and they will put it in the mail for me. So thank goodness my parents still live there. So my parents were really hoping that they could come, but obviously that's all on hold. And my dad, while he's healthy, he has underlying health issues. So he really hasn't been doing much. So and in fact, he said to me the other day, he's like, well, so much for coming to visit Greece. And I was like, don't say that. Like, you'll eventually make it here. Like, I have faith that sometime next year we'll get an approved vaccine and that maybe by 2022 we'll have, everyone will have been able to get it, or at least, the people who really need it can get it. And then things will go back to the new normal. So I don't know how traveling home in December is going to be. I'm a little bit nervous because I don't want to expose my family. Anyway, and I don't want to get my dad sick. I'm actually thinking I may get a test a couple of days before I fly out, not because it's required, but because I will feel better mentally that I'm not taking something home, or at least at that moment in time, I don't have it. How much is a haircut? Okay, well, I'm probably not the best person to ask for this because I got my haircut here in Kolonaki. And if most of you know, Kolonaki is an expensive neighborhood, so it's probably more than it needed to be. But I also needed a hairdresser that spoke English. And the first one I contacted, they were like, you have to call us Like I tried to make the appointment on Facebook and they weren't having it. So, so I think I paid like 62 euros, but that was the wash, the haircut, and the blow dry. I've heard like 40, 45 is normal, which makes definitely more sense than what I paid. I will probably continue to pay that because I only get my haircut like maybe twice a year. So I don't care that much. So yeah, the good thing is like I can go home to the States and come back because of my residence permit. If I was just an American trying to come here, I couldn't leave because then I couldn't get back. It's part of the reason I haven't gone anywhere outside of Greece because I'm afraid that even though, you know, they don't check passports and things when you travel within Europe, I use my passport as my ID in Europe because my Texas driver's license probably doesn't mean a whole lot to European passport, not whatever, airline employees. If I don't ever, the temporary one gets me back in, Mohammed. The piece of paper that I have allows me to travel back home and then come back to Greece. So that's not an issue. The real issue is if they suddenly say that nobody can come, even if you are a resident. I mean, I don't think Europe would do that, but like they did it in Qatar, they're doing it to Australians who are citizens. So like there's always the possibility that like suddenly things could change. I guess the you know, the thing is I just have to be prepared to come back quickly if I need to. So I don't know if you guys are seeing this, but I'm having to delete somebody's political comments. I'm not going to respond to those. I'm not here to talk about politics. It's not what this is about. So if you're here and you're watching me and you're the one that's making those comments, I'm about to block you. No, my lawyer told me that the paper gets me back in it but I'm supposed to have the card within about a month, so I'm not too worried. So so I don't think that's going to be an issue. Anyway. So sorry, I'm just reading comments. Yeah, that's a shame. I think there's a lot of people who, you know, had plans to come in early spring and they got canceled, and it was sort of like all of a sudden they couldn't come. Whereas the people who had like trips scheduled in the summer, they kind of expected they couldn't come. So they had a little bit more time to prepare. But I think a lot of people just were coming in the spring were just like, oh my gosh, I can't go. And then, you know, by the time they figured that all out, like their vacations might have been ruined for at least for the foreseeable future, because it's not like you could go too many places. So thank you. Yeah, I keep checking the system to see if they've gotten the rest of my paperwork. We sent it last week, so I'm hoping that it comes soon. So I am going to check with my lawyer, you know, about the piece of paper, but I'm pretty sure that like I haven't heard of anybody being denied, but I also don't know if too many people are trying. The good news is my flight is coming from London, like because there's no direct flights from the US anyway to Athens, at least not in that time of year. Then it shouldn't matter too much because I'm coming from London. So I was in Corfu in July for like 10 hours when I did the sailing trip, but I didn't get out much and see anything because we got there at night and my flight was the next morning. What do I do on the weekends? It kind of depends. You know, like last weekend I went on a food tour. Saturday I didn't do anything. I go to dinner with friends or drinks a couple, you know, sometimes. This weekend I'm hoping that I'm going to go to an island. I'm not sure. Trying to figure that out. If I do go, I'm going to Igistri, which is new for me. And I get excited about seeing new things. So, yeah. But like I said, I'm kind of a homebody. So if I'm not traveling, then sometimes I don't do anything. Like I'm really bad. I am one of these people that I can be at home for 2 or 3 days and not even leave the house, like, just to even go outside and check the mail. So, um, yeah, I'm really bad. I'm kinda lazy. I like alone time, I like downtime a lot. And so when I've had a stressful week, there's nothing I like more than turning on the TV or reading a book and vegging out and doing nothing. It's how I de-stress. Like going out and interact. Okay, so shocking thing for those of you who don't know me personally, I'm an introvert. So if I do too much, then I'm like overstimulated and I'm exhausted, like mentally exhausted. So um, I just can't do it. It's funny because when I'm traveling, it doesn't bother me because I'm only interacting really with myself. So it's fine. So Corfu, yeah, there was no video on Corfu because I didn't see anything in Corfu except for the harbor. So if you watch the sailing video that's sailing from like sailing to Corfu, that's why it ends at the sailing into the harbor and then it doesn't go any further. It looked amazing though. We went out to dinner and I was like, oh, like it's a totally different feel than like the rest of Greece. It kind of felt like Syros a little bit, but even more European than Syros feels. So, oh, thank you, Kimberly. I really appreciate it. I'm hoping to do more if I get less lazy. Hellenic American Union, no. Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out. Yeah, that was, so if I don't go to an island this weekend, I'm gonna go on another food tour with the same guy that I did last weekend. That was really great. It just kind of depends because if I go away, I'm gonna be too tired probably to go on the walking tour. We'll see. Even though, unless I go to Igi Street just for the day, which that may be my plan. Because of restrictions and everything is up in the air, and I'm supposed to do this other thing, which in Greece time is like, you know, they're like, oh, I should know by Tuesday, which means they may let us know tomorrow. So if that's the case, then Igi Street won't happen. But if it does, it does. And if it doesn't, then I'll go to Igi Street. We'll see. I really want to make sure I get out at least once more in case we do go out into lockdown because, you know, that was really hard for me because especially then because I didn't know anybody. That was really hard. I don't think we're going to go into lockdown, but if we do, it'll probably just be here in Athens. So maybe I should go to an island and get stuck there. Food. Have you visited the place? I don't think so. I'm gonna have to go back and look at our messages. I can't remember. You've sent me so many suggestions that I don't remember. And by the way, John, I think you were the one that sent me the outdoor cinema that's on the roof. It's closed for the summer for repairs. So I have to wait to go to Cine Paris next year. So, okay, yeah, I'm gonna check that out. There's something maybe that's the thing. Oh, that's the class I think I signed up for. Now that you're saying that, but it's called something else now. Anyway, but it's near here. And it was inexpensive. It was like 70 euros a month for the class. But I don't know how long it was for. Anyway, we'll see. So maybe by this time next year, I'll be a lot more fluent. Okay, just speaking it. Let's not go with fluent. Let's just go with speaking it. Because I'm probably not going to be fluent ever. Anyway. One of my friends was trying to teach me how to say chicken breast because I need to find a cheaper place to buy chicken. I was just laughing at myself at like what that process was going to be like when I go into the butcher to ask them that. So he wasn't even sure if the butcher sold chicken. That's what happens when you have friends who used to be vegetarians. Anyway, so all right, does anybody have any more questions? Because we're like nearing an hour now. And I don't know if you guys are tired of hearing me talk. Anyway, I'll wait a few minutes and see if anybody has any more questions. Thank you. And if I find out more about getting the paper and coming back in with it, I will let you know somehow, Mohammed. Leave me a comment, like not in the chat, but in the comments, and I'll try to come back and answer that here. Thank you. I hope all of you are doing well too and staying safe. I don't think any of my subscribers that I know of have gotten corona, so please keep doing that. Please keep not getting it. Thanks for joining, Kimberly. I really appreciate it. It's really nice to see so many of you that I know have been following me for a while now. So, that was the other thing I wanted to say is thank you so much. All of you have been following me since I don't know, March or April, since all of this started and really took off. It's been great to get to know all of you and get your emails and your comments. So thank you. Yeah, the live chat, when I figure out how to do it properly, hopefully will go better next time. And maybe I can do it from a more interesting place than my dark apartment. So yeah, this was fun too. I really like this because I feel like I can interact with people more. And I could do it on Instagram, but I don't think everybody over here, I know a lot of you do, but not everybody follows me over there. And I don't really want it to stay on my Instagram. Anyway, still raining. Yes, I saw your video, so I can't wait to check that out. Just send the rain though. Just get on a plane and bring it with you. So, all right, guys, I really appreciate you joining me, and we will do this again. If I suddenly get more time, then maybe this will become once a month, and I can get on here and answer questions, particularly for people who are new and have questions about moving here. And then all of you Greece fanatics can ask me other questions. All right, guys, have a great day, evening, night, wherever you are, and I will see you guys in the next video.